Hello guys, it's Apocalypse X back with another 4 Color Loam video. Let's say a random opponent, so they might be on anything. We're going to keep this even though it's like really land heavy, because these two cards are redraws and might draw us towards spells, and this is a threat in the late game. This is not a strong keep, however. Okay, that made it a lot better, although resolving Veteran Explorer is like half the battle in this matchup. Against Chalice, of course. So the relevant things that we are turning off with Chalice are, I guess they're not going to be able to hit with Cabal Therapy, although they still are going to be able to use the interaction. And then any like Sensei's Tops in our opponent's deck and any Source of Plowshares are all dead, and then our opponent might also be playing some like Thoughtseize effects or something like that. Okay, so our opponent is playing a. I've seen this deck before on the source threads. I don't remember the list immediately, but it's definitely something that exists. So now we could, if we play a Cloud Post, for example, it, it's entirely possible that our opponent does not have a black source to sacrifice this Veteran Explorer. If our opponent plays a Cloud Post, they have access to 3 mana, which we're not super scared of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a Stirring Wildwood instead. An alternative would be to play Horizon Canopy and just draw through our deck more, but we do want to establish a mana base in case we draw a Green Sun Zenith or a Knight or something, and if we just play Horizon Canopy and cycle it, that's going to be not great for us. This is also not great for us, but that's like not the worst creature to see. Hard to remove, but it has a relatively small effect. So now we could play a Knight, but we're heavily incentivized to blow up that Cloud Post. Our opponent's going to have a Green Sun Zenith next turn, and we definitely don't want to give him prime time. If that's something they're capable of, I mean, with our 1 mana away from prime time. So we're for sure blowing up a Cloud Post, and then I guess we can Green Sun for the cat. Because the strategy relies fairly heavily on artifacts. We may have shut off a bunch of them because a lot of them are 1-drops. But also, this successfully attacks through a 2/2. So we may have shut off like Needles and Sensei's Tops and Candelabra Optanos. Normally against Nic Fit, they don't have a ton of. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Maybe I don't follow these source threads as closely as I think I do. Mm-hmm. So it's good to learn more about the deck. Uh-huh. We have Decay for that, so that's not a big deal. But our opponent is getting a considerable advantage off this Oracle. They're not an aggro deck. There's no point to have Stirring Wildwood active in sooner. So I'm going to play a Horizon Canopy and draw a card and see if I can draw something a little bit more live. So my plan was to Abrupt Decay the Knight, and I think it still is to Abrupt Decay the Knight. That way we can offer a trade, which we will gladly take. Yep. And of course okay, sure, that's fine. Our opponent gets 2 lands, we get 1. I'm not going to use this Mox Diamond because it doesn't cast anything this turn, and I can activate the Pridemage with the basic. That is perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. Log. Well, our opponent is getting there. Yeah, great. So I am going to use Mox Diamond because we want Knight to be larger. Okay, cool. So, I mean, this Oracle has drawn our opponent like 2 or 3 cards. Or I guess like filtered or whatever. Which is great for them. But also we get to sort of see what kind of cards they're playing and what kind of I mean, and the kinds of cards that they're potentially playing. Like we know about Ulamog is in their hand right now, so we know it's like fairly important to deny them mana sources. I think I'm just going to attack, loan back some of these guys, and then go on the land destruction plan. I'm going to allow my opponent to trade in this Oracle if they want. I don't think they will. Okay. Wasteland, Cycle, and Horizon Canopy. There might be like an Abrupt Decay or something hiding in our opponent's deck, and I can't take them off any other color. So we're just going to go ahead and Wasteland that. There's no point getting a... I'm going to go ahead and get a Gaddock Teeg, just to shut off anything too crazy. There might be like, I don't know, a Karn or something. Yeah, these lists can be pretty interesting. No, because we have a free draw, and done. Yes, we do want to Dredge Life Armor. What are the 3 new cards? These guys. I'm going to attack my opponent for 9. We don't need new cards, so we could go ahead and force our opponent to block. Okay, this is a slight error. I should have played out Mox on Savannah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a small calculated risk to giving up, potentially giving up Pridemage if they want to go to 2, but I also don't think it's that big of a risk. And we don't want anything else here. So we're actually not going to loan for the full amount, just in case the size of the Knight matters. This is the single highest mana producing land, and if they untap with it, they can cast Ulamog. Yep. Okay, so we mentioned that there's a bunch of naturalizables, so we could bring in Reclamation Sage. Our plan is to turn them off with Chalice. Maelstrom Pulse is going to be good because they have a bunch of things Abrupt Decay doesn't hit. There are some revocables like Top, uh, but I think we should identify what's bad in the matchup first, because I'm not sure how much we can take out. Scavenging Ooze is bad because it's just a beater. We could take out Dismember because it doesn't kill the Titan. You take out Deathrite Shaman because that's generally not what this matchup's about. We could bring in swords, but everything that we've seen is either, I think if they get to resolve something that only swords can destroy, then we're in a really bad spot, and they're potentially dead with Chalice. So this is what I'm going to try. It might be the case that next game 3, I'm going to have to reboard because of new things our opponent has shown us. So there's no accelerant here. And I'm not a huge fan of these hands, and I'm going to mulligan this one just because it needs all 4 colors, and we get to choose 3. It's actually a little better. We are on the draw, so we get to scry and draw. We're going to scry that away. We have potentially a really strong play if we draw a mana source. And then if we don't, we still have sort of a decent backup plan with Green Sentient. Okay, great. There's actually some chance we can revoke Deathrite Shaman to deny another mana source. Like if we draw another land here, we actually really want to draw another land in general. Mm-hmm. Reasonable. Huh. Our opponent has 2 cards, and they haven't. I mean, they spent a Reclamation Sage on blowing up this guy, so they might be playing 1-drops, but they're not playing one out right now, so it's not a top or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and jam this again. If it was good enough to kill, it's probably good enough to try to establish again. Now it makes an alternative play. Okay, so they have crop rotation probably. An alternative play was to green sun for 0 in order to get a Dryad Arbor to get up to 2 mana post Wasteland. Ugh. Okay. No blockers. If we draw a Wasteland, that would be pretty cool. Huh. Not sure what to do here. So I think we just play Bob. We take a bunch of damage, hope to draw out of this situation. An alternative line would be to play Phyrexian Revoker and revoke Deathrite Shaman, as there are plenty of lands in the graveyard. I'm less of a fan of that line because our opponent is drawing plenty of lands, and it can play 2 a turn. Yeah, that's all fine. So I think what I want to do is play Nether Reliquary, and then next turn I'll be able to maybe trade for the Gitrog monster. Maybe I'll. Our opponent did not play a second land, so they're still fairly mana screwed. The alternative here, we're like 1 mana short of making the play of like getting a kitty, blocking, and sacking to destroy a Mox Diamond or something. Mm-hmm. So if our opponent attacks with Reclamation Sage, we're going to go ahead and block with Dark Confidant. We don't need the extra card that bad that we're willing to go to 1 and like risk losing the game. Or, yeah, to 1, because we'd have to trade with it anyway, because of Deathrite Shaman. Or is there actually, does our opponent just have lethal? No, there's nothing that can hurt us that our opponent is playing. We're going to chump anyway, actually. Because this Deathrite Shaman might kill us in time. Now, if our opponent doesn't play 2 lands, we can use both of our Wastelands and just destroy their mana base and not give them a land to sacrifice to this Gitrog monster. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Our opponent knows that we're fairly mana screwed, and yet they didn't really do anything about it. They didn't blow up our Mox Diamond, they instead blew up this guy. So I kind of want to it's a difficult situation. I can Wasteland, get okay, so I'm Wastelanding no matter what. And then if I keep this up, my opponent can't attack. So I'm going to turn off Deathrite Shaman. Even though our opponent like probably has a top and still has 1 mana source after this. There's almost definitely a better line here. But if we do tap Knight, our opponent takes us to 4. Yeah, we expected this, but we kind of can't really afford to do anything about it. On the end step, I think I'm gonna. Well, I'm definitely using this. I might just go for the combo over multiple turns. The alternative would be, for example, to get a Dryad Arbor, but we can get a Dryad Arbor with this. So this is nice. We can get a full loam. We're of course not going to be able to play enough lands to Thespian Stage this turn, so we might as well tap it. 2, 3. We were one away no matter what we did. So now we can go get a Dryad Arbor. We can also tap this guy to get a 2-drop. And I think we should go ahead and do that. No, let's not. We're not going to solve this with like normal creature combo. We're just going to combo our opponent at some point. Because we could technically get a Scavenging Ooze, turn the Scavenging Ooze into a 3/3, and then a 4/4. Excuse me. But that's way easier to disrupt. Okay. We can blow that up. I'm good, thanks. No. So I'm gonna make Merit Lage on the end step, and then Green Sun Zenith for Qasali Pridemage to blow up the bridge. That way we sort of have a plan. If the opponent plays like a second Ensnaring Bridge, we're not all in. And we didn't quote unquote waste removal on a thing that's on an effect that's still in play. Not that, I mean, that logic applies